Well guys, it's been a little bit since I made a video, so I figured I'd do one on the dually over here. And pretty much things changed a little bit since the last time. I did buy lowering spindles for it, and I genuinely 110% was going to lower it. And then I lifted it, and here's what I did. So, it's an absolute mess in here. Ignore the mess. I just want to show you the truck and where it is right now. I did put LED headlights in it. It is now four-wheel drive. As you can see, I put the front axle in there, Dana 60. I am looking for dually hubs for the front to make it dually front axle like it was. The box is off, but we lifted the rear too. So right now it's got 6 inches of lift in the front, 4 inches in back, and I think I'm going to drop the front down to 4 inches. Put a 4-inch lift spring in, and then put 35s on it. I think that'd be a sweet looking setup. So the first thing I did was four-wheel drive, and I was going to keep this truck 454 and put a 5-speed in it, four-wheel drive. I thought that'd be kind of cool. Then I was looking at it, I was thinking, I was like, you know what, this truck really, if it's going to be four-wheel drive, it really needs a Cummins. And if it's going to have a Cummins, it's got to have an NV5600, because I love NV5600s. They're my favorite manual transmission. I have like 4 of them right now. And anyway, I figured if I'm going to do that, I might as well just go all out. You know, make it four-wheel drive, Cummins swap it, make it 6-speed, and go from there. So pretty much this truck is everything it wasn't before. It was a 2-wheel drive, gas, automatic, and now it's a 4-wheel drive, diesel, manual. So it's been a lot of work to get to this point, and I haven't filmed any of it so far, so this is just going to be an update on everything, and I might get more in depth later and show you what I did and whatnot. But here we go. This will be a quick overview of the truck. So I did pull the box off, as I said earlier, to work on the fuel tank situation, but let's start underneath the hood. And no, it's not 100% done. It does run, drive, and you know, pretty much do everything you need it to, but it's not completely finished. I have to finish up the wiring and whatnot. But here it is. It's a 93 12 valve with a VE pump. It is pretty much bone stock motor. Nothing done to the motor at all, other than being turned up, of course. Second gen intercooler, or second gen radiator and intercooler hiding up in front of it, of course. You can see in there. Both of those fit really nice. I had to cut out the core support some to make it fit, but worked out really well. And then this alternator is actually off a LS engine. It's off a 6.0. I just made these simple brackets up on either side, and then ordered a longer belt for it, and then swapped the pulley off a Cummins alternator, and just swapped it onto here, and now this charges perfectly. The gauge works good. It's a one-wire setup, so I don't have to worry about any voltage regulator or anything like that. I've dealt with that actually, you know, on this exact motor when it was in a different vehicle. And Dodge alternators with external voltage regulators are just kind of a crappy setup all around. So I think this will give me a very nice setup, and I won't really have to worry about it much. So I still have to finish the intake. It's a first gen downpipe, which fits perfectly. I still have to finish the exhaust though. It's just a downpipe. I still have to build a battery tray, and I think I'm going to put both batteries in that corner. Side by side, and probably just take this battery tray out completely. It also is a second gen 12 valve intake horn I had to use to clear the brake master cylinder, so that works out pretty well. Let's come over to this side. For gauges, back there I just used a stock sending unit or sensor for the coolant temp out of 454, and then down there is my oil pressure sensor. Just screwed that right into the block, gets oil pressure from there. Works out pretty good. My alternator is hooked up the same way it was with the 454, same wire. This is all temporary. This is just so I can start it and move it around and whatnot until I build my tray over in this corner. For mounts, I'm sure everyone's gonna ask me. I use stock second gen. Actually, they're stock second gen mounts. One is off of a 24 valve second gen and the other is off a 12 valve second gen, which are different. This side, I believe, is the 24 valve mount and that side's the 12 valve mount. They're pretty much very similar. You know, it's the big round style mount, and I can't really get a super good angle on it, but you can kind of get the gist of it. And the reason why I did that is it's what I had laying around. It's not, you know, hacked together or anything. It's completely no different than two of the same mounts. It's just slightly different. As far as cross members, I built a cross member that bolts to either side of the frame with 4 half-inch bolts. So that holds the frame pretty solid right behind the mounts for the motor. As you can see, this I gotta clean up yet where I cut it out for the pulley. And then I also built another cross member right in front here between the frame horns just to stiffen it up completely so I won't have to worry about this frame moving around at all on me. And I didn't really want to weld anything other than the motor mounts. I wanted to make that bracket or cross member bolt in so I could pull the oil pan off without pulling the motor. So as far as the motor goes, that's pretty much it. It does have a second gen 24 valve vacuum pump and power steering pump, which works good for the hydro boost brakes because then you have 2 return lines right on there. Works out really nice. Like I said, I still have to finish up this wiring. This is nowhere near permanent. Just making sure everything works like it should, and I'll go through and clean it all up. Moving back, it is a 5600. Like I said, I used a factory mount out of an 80 Chevy. I couldn't tell you, I think a K30, and then a NP205 out of a first gen Cummins. What I did on the mount here is just cut down the center and then welded in a plate. As you can see, pretty simple. I just had to drop it a little bit. As far as hydraulics go, I should probably touch on that. So I still have to mount my reservoir, but the master cylinder there is a stock second gen master cylinder. The entire clutch hydraulic systems is all stock second gen parts. I wanted to use all stock parts off second gen, so if I ever need to replace it, you know, I can just go to a parts store and get the entire setup and bolt it on, not have to worry about it. So what I did is I put it right there in the firewall, as you can see. That's actually right where the speedometer cable went through, which I'll have to move and address that. I don't have a speedometer hooked up right now. So the interior is far from done. I had to cut out the tunnel quite a bit to get the transmission in there, so I'm going to build it up higher. If this would have been a factory 4-speed truck or a factory 4-wheel drive truck, it would have had a much taller tunnel, and in that case I could have avoided cutting out my tunnel, but that's the way it goes. It had the low hump, so I had to cut it out. Not a big deal. It is what it is. Like I said, I still have to finish up quite a bit in here, but all my gauges work. Temperature, oil pressure, my voltmeter. The speedometer does not currently, and the tanks need a little bit of work. pretty much got that figured out. So underneath here, you can see this is actually where my clutch master cylinder bolts to, and it's hard to tell, but I welded it to the side of my steering column brake assembly. It's a big piece that sits inside, holds the steering column, and bolts to the brake master cylinder and kind of just holds everything there. And then I used a pedal out of the second gen and pretty much drilled a hole through that piece, welded that in, welded the pin in, and then I now have a pivot point. And it works out pretty good. The clutch works perfectly. I've driven it around, and disengages good, engages perfectly. So no complaints there. It actually worked out super nice. A lot easier than I thought it would be. I know a lot of guys go with a hydraulic, factory hydraulic pedal, which I did do before in my other truck with the NV4500. I did it that way, which was nice and easy too, completely factory. This honestly wasn't much harder, and you don't have to pay for that expensive you know, pedal setup. So I'm happy with that. I am going to build the tunnel like I said, and I also am going to use cable shifters for the transfer case. So I'm pretty excited about that. Shifter's in a nice location. Works out pretty good. That's pretty much it for interior. The interior has a long way to go. Replace the seat, replace the carpet, throw door panels back on, throw radio, new dash, fix the headliner. So the interior's got a ways to go. I should mention, since this was a two-wheel drive originally, I already had the right gearbox, so I figured I might as well just do crossover. So as you can see there, I got my Pitman arm and my crossover steering set up, and should work pretty good. I mean, I haven't really drove it far, just around the yard and whatnot. It seems good, so we'll see how it goes from there. For my fuel tank, I'm just going to use this tank right now. It's going to be kind of small, but for the time being it will do. And I just pretty much ran my lines right to my lift pump and my return, so that's super simple. And then pretty much just fill it with diesel, or drain the gas out, fill it with diesel, and be good to go. I shortened the drive shaft. You can't see it, but I shortened it about 20 inches because this was a two-wheel drive truck. It had no transfer case, and then the 5600 is such a long transmission, plus the transfer case, it really pushed everything back. So I shortened the drive shaft 20 inches in the back. It's still two-piece. I am going to change over to a one-piece shaft eventually, and I have yet to put a front drive shaft in here. I'm going to have to get one extended. I don't have anyone that is long enough. Back here, we put 4-inch blocks in here. Other than that, it's pretty much the way it was. Didn't really do much there. That gooseneck hitch will be mounted in here pretty soon. There's part of the exhaust I'm going to run on it. It'll be likely be 4-inch all the way back. I just gotta finish building that. Now, a couple other things I still have to go through and fix this rocker right here. Completely rotted out on me. This truck was from California, like I've mentioned in other videos, but this spot got a little crusty, and then there's one hole up there. So I'll go ahead and replace this entire side, and will be good as new. So it's actually a really solid truck. Floors are good, mounts are good, so a little bit of rocker rust, you know, we can take care of, and definitely be worth it. That's pretty much it for now. Like I said, there's still plenty to do, but it does run, drive, and, you know, move around now. So I'm super excited about it. I know this is a huge change in direction. You know, I really wanted to lower it, and I was talking about lowering it. And then, I don't know, I just like Cummins and 6 speeds and 4-wheel drives too much. So I do have the spindles. Maybe one day I'll buy another 1 ton and lower it. You know, 2-wheel drive, 1 tons and dualies and whatnot are really easy to come by. They're not really easy, but they're cheap, and they're much more plentiful than the 4-wheel drives. So I don't feel too bad about it. I will have a 2-wheel drive eventually at some point, but for now, this will be what I'm doing. And I will be throwing the factory box back on there. I'll not be doing a flatbed, at least not now. So I'm pretty excited about it. I can make more videos to go into more detail on stuff. If you guys are interested, just let me know. I guess the only thing left to do is probably fire it up so you guys can hear it run. So now it has no clutch safety switch, of course, but it is in neutral. So the motor was just running. It was warm. That's why it started right up, no problem. But yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys are excited as I am, because I can't wait to drive this truck around. Like I said, 4-inch lift, 35s, Cummins, 6-speed. It's gonna be a really fun truck. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll get more videos of it soon, and hopefully we'll finish it within the next